nanoscale weather machines, some barely visible to the human eye.
Keeping track of troops in Iraq, the military is already using some type of GPS on some soldiers, but what more can be done? CNN's Brian Todd takes a look in this week's Tech Effect.
Even without definitive proof, cloud seeding continues to be practiced in over 34 countries worldwide. But silver iodide and dry ice nuclei are Stone Age technologies compared to today's higher-tech particle payloads. The most amazing of these belong to a family of weather mod devices that are so small you might not see one, even if it was floating in your eye. Ranging from the ultra-tiny to the nearly invisible, these are the revolutionary micro-machines that will be the workhorses of any world weather control system. They're MEMS, micro-electromechanical sensors.
There are approximately 2,000 weather balloons launched globally, worldwide, every day.
Those balloons play a huge role in helping us predict and potentially control our weather. But what if we could launch 10,000 weather balloons a day, or 10 million? That's exactly the theory behind GEMS.
GEMS are global environmental MEMS sensors, a concept that we have come up with that deals with a massive wireless network of airborne probes.
The idea is to release 10,000 or more of these dust-sized probes every day from airplanes, stratospheric platforms, or satellites. Like weather balloons, the probes would monitor weather information over every kilometer of the Earth's surface at a resolution that is today unheard of.
We envisioned that the GEMS probe itself would have a bio-inspired design, something like a maple seed or a dandelion seed that actually incorporates the constructs of nature to achieve aerodynamics and buoyancy.
With an ongoing stream of millions of measurements, the accuracy of our picture of the atmosphere could improve 1,000 times over. In effect, cloud seeding with 1 million microscopic computers. But if GEMS are heavier than air, what will happen when these millions of probes finally fall to Earth?
When the GEMS probes land on the surface, either in the water or on the land, they would continue potentially to provide surface observations.
But what about the ones that end up on your picnic table or in your hair?
At the sizes we're talking about, if you actually inhaled one or got one in your mouth or one in your eye, it would probably be no different than, say, a speck of dust or a particular particle in the atmosphere that you would get in. You'd probably sneeze it out or cough it up.
Useful as nanotechnology will be to weather observation and prediction, there's no question that it will also play a significant role in military weather operations.
But in the future, every square inch of every city will be alive with intelligence. Because every street and every building will have a network of microcomputers built right into them. Dr. Chris Piester calls it smart dust.
A smart dust particle or mote is a wireless sensor with sensing, computation, communication, and power in one package.
These all-in-one microcomputers will be small, very small. Tiny specks of computer smart dust will form a vast invisible network that can help manage the infrastructure of even the largest city.
Smart cities in the future will take this low power, inexpensive, small technology and basically distribute it everywhere.
These tiny computers record information about their surroundings, information they can send to other computers
so it's
or
got
to
to
you.
have come then from the environment, but there are chemtrails everywhere all the time.
Correct, and they could have other chemicals in it, but one key that what I'm calling the smart dust, where smart dust is a very, very small particle at nano size that has a specific function. This looks like, if you look at certain times of the day and you see dust, but it's not dust, it's like an iridescent glitter. Very specifically different than regular household dust.
Yeah.
And this would be in areas where
we have seen that. You know, Doctor, I got one of those 10 million watt spotlights. You go out at night and point it up to the sky, and you can't believe what's floating in the air. I mean, it's really disgusting.
Right, and if you're seeing this iridescence, which looks like just like glitter, that is a engineered dust or smart dust type material versus regular household dust, or that does not reflect back.
So here comes the conspiracy theory. If Morgellons or Morgellons is related to chemtrails and it's coming out of the spray from airplanes, is there some grand plan to get this stuff into human beings?
Well, I don't know if it was a plan or anything, but I will say that all of us have been exposed, all animals, all life forms on this planet.
The first public, nice, detailed public description was in the book of Cara St. Louis Farrelly, The Sun Thief, where she says that there are hollow fibers sprayed, self-replicating hollow fibers that are there to kind of read out the light fingerprint of your DNA, transform it into an electromagnetic radio signal that is detectable via satellite and ground stations. This is what she found out by analyzing information dealt with the chemtrail communities in the United States. She never mentioned the name Morgellons in her book, but if you look at these Morgellons, who had heard about the Morgellons disease? Half of you, okay. Let's just have a look at them. This is a German tomato that got some German rain on top of itself.
Is that real time?
This is real time, yes. Now watch the Morgellon, what he does. He loves us. He's getting excited and he's trying to get close. I don't know exactly what they react on, maybe on infrared radiation. It is glowing under UV light. So if you take a UV lamp at night, you can see those fibers airborne. And there are billions of them. Not every night, but every now and then. They just function as a plasmonic antenna to send out a signal, but you don't get sick from it. You don't get ill. It's not a big deal. It's not dangerous, as long as the body can handle these things. Some of the people cannot handle it. And at a certain point, they are extracted via the skin. And you can see that they have this ability to collect colors. You have blue Morgellons and you have red Morgellons. And nobody knows where these colors come from because they are of technical origin. It's not a natural substance. So you can see them when the skin is opening. You can see them under the microscope if you make a blood analysis. And you can let them grow artificially in a petri dish. They have kind of organs inside. They have little red stem cells of an unknown species that are self-replicating as well. And apparently they produce other structures. And other things you find, now it's getting fringe, it's really getting fringe, is fragments of insect skin being extracted from a Morgellon victim. So something makes these, something from this disease is making insect parts or insects grow within the human body. Yes.
We'll have this.
He said it had been tested in the last Iraq war. This was the war was only done for the purpose of testing the system.
Now you're talking about the most recent one with
yes,
George Bush.
with the junior.
With W. Bush.
Yeah.
And they sprayed that in Iraq.
And they sprayed it in Iraq, and we had single news, for example, that they fought back the Iraqi army by utilizing microwave weapons that gave them the feeling that the skin burns.
Yeah.
This was in public media and mainstream media. So this had a kind of agent within the bodies of the Iraqi army. They tested all other aspects of it.
Which are these aspects?
From the text, he says you have these psychotronic weapons, making them give up, making them fall in love with the American soldiers, whatever. A long list of psychotronic functions. And you can make people sick, you can make them die of cancer after 1 year, you can make them die in 6 minutes, and you can make them die in 6 seconds if you want to. This is what he listed. And but the most interesting thing from this paper is that he said that they spent 10 billion US and half a year, I think it was half a year, to optimize the cluster topology. Cluster topology starts to become an interesting topic, and now whatever is carried by these clusters, the artificial intelligence or a program or a soul, whatever this is, can travel from the dust into the human being.
This is smart dust.
And this is what they call smart dust. And now, this is all kind of grabbed theory. If you take the Morgellon topic is, you find it described as a transhumanistic technology to extract light from the human body, turn it into a radio signal to read out what happens within the human, and opposite way to insert light, not radio frequency, to the human to make him feel whatever you want to make him feel. If you take this Morgellon concept, if you take the nanocrystals, the nanocrystal concept, and if you take all the other things, and then you look into some internal papers of the NASA. This is something that went online, I don't know when, 2000 maybe, or a little bit earlier. It wasn't meant to be published. It was an internal lecture in the NASA facilities in the United States.
I like the way you say NASA. Is that just your thick German accent, or are you putting a Z in there intentionally?
No, it was not intentionally, but it is like this. And they kind of inform each other about future strategic issues for warfare, projecting to the year 2025 with a subtitle, big subtitle, "The Future is Now." And if you look through it, you find the concept of some sensor swarm, smart dust. You find nanotechs, which is identical with the Morgellon function. And you find co-opted insects. So somewhere in the American intelligence community,
Big
which
spiders.
seems to be black magic inspired.
Oh, well, there are certain individuals who would say the US Army has totally been satanic since like the 1930s.
Sometimes I would say it looks like. Definitely the the army-based intelligence community, especially whatever was founded by the Tavistock Institute, which is CIA and Office of Naval Intelligence. Those are definitely black magic institutions. But NASA knows all the components, and it is interlocked in the United States. If you go to Silicon Valley, you have 3 big buildings. One is Singularity University, with the founder Ray Kurzweil, who is dreaming about, and there are interviews out there where Kurzweil is dreaming about sending nanobots to other planets to harvest energy and matter, to multiply the overall intelligence of the human-machine civilization. Originally his words. And then he asked himself if there's a God that exists, and he says, not yet. Now, next building from Singularity University, transhumanistic headquarters, is Google headquarters, where he now is head developer. And on the other side of the university is NASA headquarters, the one who is certifying the planes to spray. So all these members of this black brotherhood even sit in the same street as neighbors. And I think it's kind of about...
They obviously feel fairly safe.
Looks like.
But that's because people don't understand the consequences, or are they hive programmed already?
Some people do understand the consequences. The Russians did understand the consequences of spraying the military compounds, which would have meant losing the harvest and falling under Monsanto. And they decided to stop spraying. And the NSA realized, I guess, that the CIA is a black magic unit. And the NSA, at least parts of it, is still into American interests and the American...
I mean, actually human interests.
Yes, whatever. So the answer on... or no, not the answer. Maybe in a reaction to realizing that whatever is happening there with following demonic or archon interests, the NSA downed Evergreen International. They downed the CAA spraying airline. And the kind of little...
When you say downed it, do they shut it down?
Yes. NSA has one option. This is cutting money flow. If the CIA wants the Congress to send troops to Iran to start World War III, and they are blackmailing members of the Congress, sending millions to them to vote for their interests, the NSA is blocking the money flow. This is the only option they actually have if they don't want to enter this war. And
but the logic of that situation is that the United States is losing control of itself.
Yes, surviving.
So we know they spray the skies, they spray them all the time, and there's things called moving fibers, oh, there you go, that exist. They grow from what they spray. Some people call it Morgellons, some call it more moving fibers. There's been some people who went before Congress with samples of it that they found on bushes and shrubs and stuff like that. So you have to understand what they're using, what the technology is, how advanced it is. Look at this.
You know, they were talking about climate change yesterday, and now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion,
no.
though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really, to change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now for agriculture, farmers, for people planning wedding parties, football games, you name it, outdoor events and agriculture and flooding and even hurricanes. All of them could be subject to weather modification.
Incredibly interesting, Professor Michio Kaku. Thank you so much.
Well, it's not just the general public who don't really understand it. The scientists who have produced it have absolutely no idea of the mathematics of the waveform that it's going to produce or that it is producing. There are no safety checks at all carried out on 5G. There are no safety tests at all carried out on anything to do with 5G. It is known that the gigahertz range, in other words, the waveform, the waves that come out, it is known that they are in the same frequency as some of our cellular processes in our body, some of our cells. It is known they can interfere with the cellular processes of the body. There are several different waveforms for 5G. It isn't just one wave. Already, I do know that 40 leading groups of scientists in 40 countries, leading scientists in 40 countries have warned that the waveforms from 5G can be particularly harmful, not just to humans, but to all living species. And I can tell you as a military man that one of the top waveforms for 5G is incredibly close. And in terms of electronic waveforms, there really isn't much difference from the new microwave weapon called active denial that is now in use for crowd control to subdue and bring down crowds. And that is known or reputed to cause visual disturbances, certainly neurological disturbances, heart disturbances, all sorts of things. Now, that is the new active denial, which can be also released from aircraft or beamed from aircraft. That is incredibly close to one of the frequencies on 5G. And as I said, the waveform is so mathematically complex that nobody can really tell you how it's going to react, other than it makes a damn good weapon. And we are now producing this and handing it to toddlers.
And you said to me, or I'll never forget it, you said, Richie, as it stands, you said, low-level wireless radio frequency, that's low-level wireless radio frequency. This is back now 6-7 years ago. When we're exposed to that, it can disrupt cell metabolism. It can reduce melatonin, which of course controls your sleeping and your waking cycles.
And your immune system.
And your immune system.
And your immune system, yeah.
And you said it'll disrupt brain glucose metabolism, and it'll mess around with the blood-brain barrier. That was low-level wireless radio frequency. And you were proven to be right. So this is something different entirely, Barry, for the lay person. What's it like? Is it like turning 4G up to, from 7 up to 1,000 on the dial on the radio? What is it?
I suppose the simple answer, of course, is yes and no. Each particular frequency can affect different parts of the body. You have, in an adult body, you have around 4,500 biological structures. And every part of your body, every single part of your body is in communication with every other part. Every single cell in your body produces its own electric and magnetic field. And they all, it's like a constant chatter that goes on in your body all the time. But they all have their own different resonant, cyclotronic, and circadian frequencies. Now, when I was talking to spies and studying this during the Cold War, it was realized that different frequencies could cause different things to happen in the body. There's a frequency that can cause the bowel to collapse, the eyes to go funny, the heart to collapse, and so on. And there are 4,500 different structures in the body that can be known to be affected. So as you run through the 2G, 3G, 4G, then you can affect different ones. When I was talking to spies, and my list, the list that I made, I suppose I had a list, an active list of networks then that used between 40 and 60 different frequencies that could cause up to around 100 neurological and physiological conditions. The latest list I've seen or heard of is now 750 different frequencies that can cause neurological, physiological harm, but it isn't 750 where you get this one or this one or this one. Mathematically, it is 750 factorial, which means you can get the effects of 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 up to 750. Now, 5G is going to encompass a lot of what all of the other Gs have and introduce its own as well. And this is why the top scientists in 40 countries have actually signed a petition saying, you know, you cannot do this. But like all of the other Gs, the industry and the government scientists are choosing to ignore the entire scientific body throughout the world and just plod on regardless, because they are actually above the law. You know, they can buy the law. The industry, I had a symposium here not too many months ago there were 11 professors and research doctors here for 4 days discussing all of this and turning it into a DVD. And they were just absolutely horrified that nobody is being listened to. And the producer of this, he said, well, I've researched this industry, and it is now estimated at $17 trillion.
$17 trillion.
17 trillion. And when you have that much money, you know, you can buy governments, you can buy countries, and it's not difficult to buy scientists. It really isn't. That will do an experiment which is legitimate but not accurate, and it will cause confusion. And this is what they're doing, and they're going to get away with it because they are above the law.
Can I ask you this, Barry? Let me ask you this. Will we, again, going back to when we first began talking, we talked about the effects of radiation on the smallest creatures in the world. Well, not the smallest creatures, but, you know, the smallest creatures that we come into contact with every day. Birds, of course, and bees and insects.
Yeah.
Are we going to see, you know, because we talked about how back in the early 2000s, we saw incidences of birds falling out of the sky, birds abandoning their nests, all sorts of issues that we saw back then. Are these issues, are we going to see more of this in the next 2 to 3 to 4 years?
Yes, it's going to get worse. In my paper, which I wrote 3 years ago now, Wi-Fi thalidomide in the making, I predicted for the human race that, and David Icke picked this up and published it, I predicted, well, I didn't predict, I proved, using government figures, World Health Organization figures, secret figures, I proved that in just 3 generations, 60 years of human life, only of the exposed populations, only 1 in 8 children after 3 generations could be born healthy. Now, that has been, people picked that up and ran with experiments, which I'm very pleased of. And oddly enough, I read just a few days ago that experiments show that entire species of animals, entire species can be extinct in 5 generations. Now, that would match my prediction, because if you've got only 1 in 8, roughly after 3, you then don't have enough population of anything to sustain a workable population. With these microwaves, and it is known, there are 20, 30,000 research papers. With microwaves, we do know that every living thing on the planet, every living thing, trees, everything, plants, every single thing, birds, fish, everything is affected by microwaves. You have nowhere to go.
Nowhere.
You have absolutely nowhere to go. But you do have a choice at the moment not to be vaccinated. You have a choice not to eat certain foods. There is a little choice that you can have. It may be living away from the general population, which some people would quite like, but you have a choice not to do those. There is no choice with microwaves.